Today I'm going to talk about the difference between the original Wizard of Oz Waddles put out with the 1934 Blue Ribbon Books Waddle book that looked like this versus the reproduction Waddles put out in 1993 by Applewood Books. Here's the book that they put out with the dust jacket. And I was lucky enough to get an original set of Waddles, and so we're going to show the differences between the original set on the left, the reproduction set on the right. First of all, looking at the envelope, we see that the one on the left is a little smaller, it's age-toned, it has some rips around the edges. The one on the right looks newer, but it could also have some flaws as well. But the real kicker in terms of telling the difference is looking at the back. Whereas the original is basically blank, the reproduction has an ISBN number, which would indicate it was put out much later. Moving on to the Yellow Brick Road, which is where the Waddle characters actually were set on to walk on down the Yellow Brick Road. Here we have the original from Blue Ribbon Books on the left, and the reproduction from Applewood on the right. The main difference is that Applewood Books is written below the Wizard of Oz Waddle book on the front of the reproduction Yellow Brick Road. The original Yellow Brick Road just has Pat Pending written in small red letters at the base. And there's some other small differences. The original has more of a matte finish, and the sand between the bricks of the Yellow Brick Road is more of a light tan color, where it's almost a yellowish, light yellowish color in the reproduction case. Moving on to the Waddles themselves, there are some differences there. First of all, on the left we have the original. On the Scarecrow, you can see that he's actually a little different color. He's a more bright orangey red color, whereas in the reproduction he's more of a burnt paler orange. And another difference is that the Waddles for the original characters had more prominent cutouts where the tabs went than for the reproduction, where they're more of a fine line. Not sure you can see that. And some more major differences are the original Waddles were actually printed two to a large sheet, which is perforated in the middle. And so there were basically 3 sheets with 2 characters each, whereas the reproduction, all 6 characters were on individual sheets. And again, the paper is more glossy, whereas it's more matte in the original case. Another dead giveaway, if you have the original sheets, is that below the titles for the originals, it says Pat Penned for patent pending here and here, as well as on one place on the tabs on each of these characters here. Whereas for the reproduction, there's no patent pending by the title or on the tabs. Now let me just go, there's also some differences in terms of the cutting. For example, here the Scarecrow's hand is cut out in much detail, whereas on the reproduction Waddles, there's not as much detail. And now I'm just going to show you the full character set of the original Waddles. Here we have the Scarecrow and the Wizard, and in very good condition, although the Scarecrow is beginning to come out a little bit, and he has a little small piece of the blank cardstock missing here at the bottom around his hand. Then we have the Tin Woodman and Toto, too. And you can see they're in very good condition. There's a little blank piece here that may have originally been on the Toto that's gone, and a little bit of punching starting, but he's still well attached. And finally we have Dorothy and her pal, the Cowardly Lion. And again, a little bit of punch out starting here on the edges on them, but they're still well attached and in near fine condition. So along with the original envelope, the original Yellow Brick Road, and the 6 original Waddles, we also have this neat little envelope with metal clips here. And these original metal clips were actually used to take the characters hips together and help them waddle down the road. The Reproduction Applewood ones had plastic clips instead of metal clips. And just to finish, I wanted to show this image from the Book Collector's Guide to L. Frank Baum, with showing the original Waddles to a page here, and then the finished Waddle set punched out on top of the yellow brick road.